3 years ago, I bought this R32 SKYLINE side unseen off Grays Online, and boy was it the biggest mistake of my life. Because I bought the car sight unseen, it came with a whole host of issues. No compliance, the engine was in unknown condition, rust throughout the entire chassis, it's just been a nightmare. And at one point, the engine bay even caught on fire, and I ended up blowing the RB20 up. Oh shit! Rest in peace, RB20.
11 months ago, I embarked on the journey of reviving this SKYLINE and retiring the legendary but tired RB20. It was time for a new chapter and some bold change. Bit by bit, the engine came out. It was a dance of tools and gears, a melody of YouTube mechanics at work. Transforming the engine bay was next, stripping it down, priming and painting. These steps were crucial in preparing for what comes next. And now, the heart of the transformation. The RB25 DET Neo. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and during the first start of the brand new motor, the worst possible thing happened. The turbo was blown.
Turn it off. I think your turbo's blown, bro. I think your turbo is done. It's like a heap of oil coming out of it.
At this point, there was only one thing left to do: acquire a brand new turbo and continue on this rebuild journey.
So today we received a very special package from our friends over at Max Speeding Rods. Big shout out to them for sending us a replacement RB25 turbo after our stock one down there has unfortunately let go. Oil sprayed everywhere out of the charge pipe, as you can see here. That's due to a suspected internal seal in this ceramic turbo, I believe. It's typical Nissan. So in the package, new gasket, always needed. Ooh. Look at those blades, man. Nice blades. It smells like a good quality turbo. Look at. So, side by side, they look very similar. A few noticeable differences is the wastegate actuator is a lot larger on the original one. The Max Speeding Rods one is a lot smaller, hopefully more efficient. Time will tell. The front propeller blade is also a fair bit larger on the Max Speeding Rods one. Hopefully a positive change. Rear wheel, also bigger on the Max Speeding Rods one. Hopefully a positive change. The overall finish on this turbo, it's $200. You can't complain. So the first thing we need to do is obviously clock the core so it matches the same orientation as the OEM turbo. To do this, there's a couple of retaining clips on the front and rear housing that we need to remove. So a couple of 13s, take them off, and we do some magic.
The process for clocking the turbo is quite straightforward. Firstly, remove the circlip, which allows us to remove the wastegate actuator. Next is loosening all the bolts holding the core in place, which allows us to freely spin the front and rear housing.
We are now going to attempt to install the remaining parts of the turbo after removing the compressor housing, just so we can get the right orientation of the core here.
Once the turbo is temporarily mounted to the manifold, we can rotate the core and slide the front housing on to mark what our final position will be before removing and tightening the front and rear housing to the core for the last time. And finally, we transported over the old oil drain from the old turbo to the new Max Speeding Rods turbo.
So we've just now finished installing the Max Speeding Rods turbo onto the RB25 Neo. A couple of points that were a bit difficult to get on were especially the oil lines and the coolant lines, both here and on the other side. Bit of a nightmare, not gonna lie. Also the dump bolts, they come with studs on the OEM turbo. This turbo only uses bolts. We're missing two of them. We're gonna give it a start. We're gonna prime it first because there is zero oil in the turbo system, and hopefully everything goes to plan. We also have no coolant in the car, so we need to be careful on how long we do run the car for. Keep that in the back of our head. Clutch, there is 0.25% of a clutch there. So I'm having major dramas with my master and slave. Major dramas. And brakes. Brakes are non-existent. Also need to bleed those at some point tonight. Let's give it a crank. Connect up the battery first, and try not to electrocute ourselves. That wiring's a bit of a rat nest as well. May pose us a problem there. I just temporarily unplugged the AFM to be able to allow the motor to prime itself. We have now done that. We've confirmed the turbo is getting oil. We have replugged in the pink label AFM, Eno pink label, as it's the newer version. Apparently makes a difference, I don't know. I'm sure some Nissan guru out there would know the answer. All right guys, first start. Hopefully the new turbo is minty.
Doesn't sound like your fuel pump primed.
Might be a good idea to plug in the car. Probably a good idea. Alright, she should start now.
Bro. Yeah, go.
Don't think that's gonna work, but.
No way.
So in the last clip you would have seen Peter blowing through the MAF to actually get the RB25 to run. Now the solution I've come up with now is creating a bit of a dose pipe. Now it's pretty jank, just a 3-inch silicone coupler from Repco, a 90-degree stainless bend onto the MAF. Now, hasn't been tested yet. I'm hoping it works perfectly fine. Logically it should. The next step we're going to do is bleed the clutch, as yesterday when we did try to start the car, we were having a few issues with the clutch actually getting into first, second, third, etc. We're going to bleed the clutch. Brakes we need to also bleed, just starting that now. All the lines in the front have been replaced as they were completely rusted out. After we finish those two tasks, we should be ready for the first start and drive, hopefully. The clutch is feeling 100 times better now. The brakes actually have some pedal feel, which I've never had before in 2 years of ownership. I think the last thing to do, guys, is give it a start and see how it goes. All right, let's give it a first start with the brand new dose pipe and see if she actually likes to idle. Fingers crossed. Yeah, there we go. So it's been about a week now since that last clip you just saw of the R32 SKYLINE actually starting for the first time, which is absolutely amazing. The next hurdle we did need to tackle was the intercooler situation. Over the past couple of days, I've been trying to source one off Marketplace. I have had a very difficult time actually sourcing one, simply because every seller thinks they have an R32 one. Turns out to be an R33 side mount intercooler, which doesn't fit at all. So we have decided to go with a return style front mount intercooler. This is the Blitz return style front mount intercooler, which is a direct bolt on for the R32 SKYLINE. So the first item in the box, which I assume is going to contain all the hose clamps and rubber couplers that we do need to get this to all bolt up straight away. Yep, it also does include some brand new hardware to actually bolt it up, which is a nice touch, as well as some brackets, which is amazing. It also does have a set of instructions, but we're not going to use that at all. And obviously the polished return style pipes, which are here. And then obviously the intercooler core, which is the most important part. Just want to give you guys another little update. We have got the front mount all mounted up, which is actually surprisingly easy with this kit, which I'm very happy about. All mounted up, all the brackets are on. Now time to put in the intercooler piping. So the main unfortunate part about this kit is that it does stop right in the engine bay here, which I was hoping it would come with the rest of the piping. Big update now, guys. I have now sorted the entire intercooler kit, which is phenomenal. Doesn't look amazing, but we have pieced together a very unconventional sort of setup here. Now, as you may have noticed, the entire downpipe is off. It's not just the downpipe. The entire exhaust system I have removed because on the dash I'm getting a cat overheat warning. Now, I don't actually know if that's because the sensor's bad or the cat's blocked. The entire system has been removed. When I was heating up the car a couple of days ago, the passenger side floor pan was getting extremely hot right above where the cat is, which sort of does lead me to believe that the cat is overheating, which is not great. It could be blocked, I'm not sure. That's what we're going to find out. All the bolts are completely stripped, rusted out. We might just have to chop the whole thing off. Fingers crossed we don't. Let's get started. The first bolt did just completely snap off. This one has completely rounded. I'm going to have to grind that one off. This side though did come off very successfully. Is where the blockage I think is actually located. There doesn't immediately seem like there is a blockage, so maybe the sensor was just bad and I've Completely wasted my time. We managed to get the cat off. Unfortunately, it is blocked. A brand new cat is on the way for the car. I thought in the meantime, since the car is up on jack stands because I was pulling the whole exhaust off, I may as well install the R32 GTST brakes that I have bought and have been in storage for quite a long time. The rears are all buttoned up and finished now. We got rear 33 GTST brake. Not sure if these are actually any different to the R32, but they are red, plus 5 horsepower. The fronts, I've already done the lines when I was painting the engine base, so they're a lot easier than the rears. The line is already completely off, just about to take caliper off and install the fronts, which are substantially bigger, so it should give a much nicer pedal feel and stop a lot quicker. So I finished off installing the front 33 GTST brake. I took the car for its first drive under its own power with the brand new brakes, and unfortunately, the worst possible thing happened. Our OEM R32 radiator exploded. Yes, that's right, you heard me correctly. The radiator exploded. Now, a couple of the fins down here started leaking water profusely. I've let the car cool down now and the radiator has completely emptied itself. We're now going to installing an alloy radiator to hopefully fix the final problem this R32 has and take it for its first successful drive. Did go with a eBay alloy radiator that did come with these thermo fans. Now, whether I actually use these, I haven't decided yet, as I've heard very mixed reviews about the performance of them. But the main thing we are after is a functioning radiator. Let's get this installed real quick. And there we go, that is the RB25 Soft R32's first successful start. I'm just letting it idle away now just to sort of self-bleed the cooling system. That'll sort of be a test to see if this eBay alloy radiator is successful or not. As I've heard some pretty bad horror stories of the world just completely exploding as soon as the car gets up to operating temperature. So yeah, that's what we're going to do now. Get it up to operating temperature, take it for a quick drive and see how we go. Oh my god, guys, we are literally driving the R32 Skyline for the first time and the dose is incredible. Oh my god. I did not think this moment would actually ever come, but oh my god. This is incredible. So there is a funky noise coming from the front end. I'm not actually too sure what that could be at the moment, but the only noise we really care about at the moment is that incredible dose from the Max Speeding Rods Turbo. Like, listen to it. Oh man, I'm in love. There's really not much more to say. The R32 Skyline has just been taken for its first drive. The dose is incredible from the Max Speeding Rods Turbo. Big shout out to them. So in the next episode of the R32 Skyline build, you're going to be seeing me painting the very ugly white front bar and trimming a couple of the pieces around the intercooler, simply because it doesn't fit just quite right. As you can see right here, where we've got quite a large gap due to that hitting the intercooler piping there. We also will be addressing the very large hole under the passenger seat that the forklift did puncture through and beginning straightening the jacking points on the car. Hope you guys liked this episode. It was a very long one. I'll see you in the next one.